you, Tom, and thank all of you. It's great hearing all of the different passions that you have that bring you here today. I certainly heard climate as a constant theme, the population as a theme, the rights of women as a theme, and these are all incredibly important topics. Before I start, let me really just first off thank Tom Hastings and Bonnie Selway and the other board members who did the work pulling today's program together. And thank you, Tom, very, very much. Yeah. I know because at 1 o'clock last night he was still working on this stuff. And I also want to thank Wendell and Madeline Harder, and it's so great to see both of you here. By the way, both Tom and Wendell are on our national board, but without the work that Wendell has done over so many years, and when you say Wendell, you got to say Madeline because they're a solid team. Without their work, they are what has really held the California region together for so long, and so thank you very, very much, and I'm so pleased to see you here. So, most of you know who we are for our organization, globalsolutions.org, but just to remind you, who are we and what are we becoming? We're becoming an online movement of Americans who want the United States to play a more cooperative and responsible role in the world. We envision a future in which nations can more effectively work together to solve these terrible global problems which you talked about today, problems that nations can't solve on their own. Our goal is to build a much more powerful constituency of Americans who will really work on these issues and work together across these many, many different issues to really have the U.S. play this much more effective role in the world than we are currently playing. You know, some of us are passionate, as we heard today, about human rights, about population, about climate, about arms control, but what holds us together is a set of shared values. And like most Americans, we understand that international cooperation is essential to build a safer and more secure world. So why international cooperation? Well, first off, it's a common sense tool to get things done. How many here, show of hands, have taken a plane to another country, say, in the last couple of decades? How many have done that? Okay. Most of us have. You know, it was because of a treaty that the pilot in that airplane and someone in that control tower both spoke English, so that plane could land safely. How about sent an email to another country, or a snail mail, or made a phone call? To another country. Once again, it's a treaty that actually undergirds the capacity for all these communication systems to work together. And I could go on. Treaties that really support basic values that we share, like getting rid of child soldiers or child labor. You know, all of this is, done by treaties. Holes in the ozone, Montreal Protocol. Right, that getting rid of the fluorocarbons that was really eating this up, and that has made a significant step in that direction. You know, it's not just that it's about common sense tool to get things done. This country is really a proud history of bringing nations together for a common good. You know, we've helped to create the premier institutions that we currently have, from the United Nations to the Bretton Woods institutions, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, and so many of the other different organizations. The U.S. was right there at the founding of them and helped bring them together. And it wasn't, other countries didn't join just because, oh gee, the U.S. says to do this, we got to do this. You know, we had a vision of equality and justice and opportunity that attracted others. And when we start losing sight, we lose the support of others, often just when we really need it the most. So we know that this cooperation, we know it works. UN programs have really done an incredible amount in terms of getting rid of terrible diseases and really limiting them, like smallpox and polio. You know, the world's children the lives have improved more in the last 40 years than in the previous 100 before that, and that was because of our ability able to work together on these problems. You know, our international support during the last 40 years has helped cut global illiteracy in half. It's raised the average life expectancy across the world. UN peacekeepers have played an incredible role in places like East Timor and Kosovo, where they've really helped stand up governments, and right now in the Central African Republic, in Mali, and soon in South Sudan, we see once again the role that peacekeepers can play. So cooperation works, and the benefits outweigh the costs, because when you look at all of these programs, all of these UN programs, and you put it together, it's running at about $10 billion a year, which is about $1.70 for every person on Earth, and it's less than what the state of Arkansas currently spends on its annual budget. So it's a good value, this international cooperation. So all of this is together is why we really think we got to keep working on this. But we got a problem, okay? And the problem that we have is there is a war, and it's a war on international law. The front lines are in the U.S. Senate, and they stretch over to the living rooms of Americans around the country who are members of the National Rifle Association or the Homeschoolers League and many other organizations. And they have successfully been able to stop the ratification of any new agreements and treaties on arms control, on the environment, on human rights since 1997. What was the treaty that we ratified in 1997? Chemical Weapons Convention. Chemical Weapons Convention. And where is that helping us out? Well, right now, 96% of the chemical weapons in Syria have been removed from that country. It's not done yet, and there's more to do, and they're dumping chlorine on people. But we've gotten incredible amounts of chemical weapons out of that country, and it's because of the Chemical Weapons Convention. We know that this works. You know, the U.S. has played a major role in crafting many